Iowa shakes up the deck.
So what a victory last night.
For the Republicans, it's now a three-way race. Hillary Clinton barely escapes.
I've won and I've lost there. It's a lot better to win.
Also tonight, terror in the sky. First a bang and then a fire as a jetliner rips open in flight. For the first time in this country, the Zika virus is spread through sexual contact. And betting on the Super Bowl. Even small advertisers are hoping to score big.
I spent all my years believing you.
This is the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley.
This is our Western edition. Hillary Clinton made history today, though not the way she hoped. She was declared the winner of Iowa's Democratic caucuses by the smallest margin ever. Now she faces a tougher battle against Bernie Sanders in his New England home turf next week. New Hampshire is also where Republican Donald Trump will be looking for a comeback after losing to Ted Cruz and barely edging out Marco Rubio. Our Campaign 2016 correspondents are on the trail, and first we'll go to Major Garrett with the Republicans.
God bless the great state of New Hampshire. So what a victory last night.
After earning the most Iowa caucus votes in GOP history, Ted Cruz boasted to us he had defied the odds.
Every TV pundit on virtually every station said Cruz can't win. There's no chance Cruz is going to win Iowa. It's not going to happen. It was going to be Trump, 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 Trump.
But it wasn't. Trump fell 6,000 votes short and gave an uncommonly subdued concession speech.
We finished second, and I want to tell you something. I'm just honored. I'm really honored.
But today, the bombast was back. Trump complained on Twitter that he had not been given any credit by the voters for self-funding his campaign, and that the media has not covered my long-shot great finish in Iowa fairly. Trump called Cruz's victory speech long, rambling, and overly flamboyant. Trump still holds large leads in New Hampshire polls, but the race is quickly becoming a battle among Trump, Cruz, and Iowa third-place finisher Marco Rubio.
It's good to see you guys. Hey, nice to meet you.
The Florida senator says he is now in a better position to be the nominee than Cruz.
Who's closer right now?
I think I am, and I'll tell you why. First of all, we're one delegate apart, despite the outcome. Second, I think I give us the best chance not just to unify the party, which is important. You can't win if this party's divided, but also to grow it.
But Rubio's newfound momentum also comes with new attacks from rivals John Kasich, Jeb Bush, and Chris Christie, who all need strong showings in New Hampshire to stay viable.
Let's see if he'll answer your questions and stand up and take that. Because I don't think he will. You know why? Because I don't think he can.
What do you think that's about?
Sometimes when people are under duress, they react in ways that they'll probably regret later on and don't take that well.
Christie finished 10th. Cruz worked really hard for his victory in Iowa, holding two-thirds as many events as Trump and a third more than Rubio. And Scott, when you do the math, Trump collected twice as many votes per Iowa visit as Cruz.
Worth remembering that Iowa Republicans haven't picked the eventual nominee since the year 2000. Major Garrett for us tonight. Major, thank you. Now we'll go to the Democrats, and here's Nancy Cordes.
I am so thrilled that I'm coming to New Hampshire after winning Iowa.
The first woman ever to win the Iowa caucuses did it by 0.2%.
Senator Sanders, are you conceding the race in Iowa?
Last that I saw is we were 4 delegates down. As I understand it, there were some precincts actually where delegates were won with a flip of the coin. So we want to take a look at that.
At least 6 precincts broke a tie with a coin toss.
Hillary Clinton.
The large turnout, evenly split, caused challenges elsewhere, too.
We should do a realignment.
In the end, 84% of young voters under the age of 30 went for Sanders, but 58% of caucus goers were 50 and up, and they went overwhelmingly for Clinton. The Granite State is rockier territory for Clinton. The latest CBS News battleground tracker shows Sanders leading in New Hampshire by 19 points. His Democratic Socialist message plays well with the state's large independent population.
It sounds to me like you're ready for a political revolution.
Sanders also has something of a home field advantage here. He is from neighboring Vermont. But Clinton has deep ties here too, Scott. It is here that she staged a comeback 8 years ago after a stinging loss in Iowa.
Nancy Cordes for us tonight. Nancy, thank you. Two casualties of the Iowa caucuses, Republican Mike Huckabee, who won there 8 years ago. He did poorly last night and dropped out, and so did Democrat Martin O'Malley. Clinton picked up 22 national convention delegates in Iowa, Sanders 21, but that's a little misleading because Clinton already has 362 superdelegates, party leaders who've pledged their votes to her. That brings her now to 384, or about 16% of the 2,382 that she needs. And after New Hampshire, the polls indicate the primaries are expected to break Clinton's way. On the Republican side, Cruz picked up 8 delegates, Trump and Rubio 7. They need a little over 1,200, so far to go. John Dickerson is our CBS News political director and anchor of Face the Nation. Well, John, as we just heard, what a difference an election makes. Tell me, how has the race changed? What's the new framework?
Well, we've been talking about this race in terms of the establishment versus the outsider, but we should maybe look at it in terms of the ideology versus electability. If you look at the entrance polls in Iowa, those who were asked, who shares your values? Overwhelmingly, they went for Ted Cruz. When people were asked, who do you think can win in November? The large share went to Marco Rubio. So going into New Hampshire, Ted Cruz is saying, I'm the true consistent conservative, the keeper of the flame, rally to my light. Marco Rubio is saying, I can beat Hillary Clinton.
This question of ideology and electability. Tell me, where does this go from here?
Well, Marco Rubio did well in Iowa in part because he did better than expectations. But now that he's saying he's in the top tier, he is the alternative to Cruz and Trump, those expectations are very high. So he would have to do very well in New Hampshire, which is a less ideological state. Of course, he has new competitors there in Bush, Christie, and Kasich, all of whom want to drag him down. And of course, there is still the roiling fight that will continue between Ted Cruz and Donald Trump.
John Dickerson will be watching on Sunday on Face the Nation. John, thanks so much. Now, in another important story tonight, health officials have confirmed the first transmission of the Zika virus in the United States. A person in Dallas was infected after sex with a partner who'd been in Venezuela, where Zika is epidemic. It's usually transmitted by mosquitoes, and it's suspected of causing devastating birth defects. Hardest hit is Brazil, where we find Dr. John LaPook.
It's a search and destroy mission by government workers. Each morning, teams of Army and health workers target neighborhoods in the city of Recife, looking to kill mosquitoes that may carry the Zika virus. Recife is the epicenter of an explosion of microcephaly, an abnormally small head at birth linked to the infection.
And each pin is a notified case of microcephaly.
Dr. Jailson Correa heads up the city's health department.
We are expecting now is reduce the population of mosquito to see less Zika infection in 2016 and hopefully less microcephaly cases later on.
There are 72,000 homes in this district alone, and officials follow up every 2 months. 30-year-old Silvania Borges is pregnant with her 4th child. A worker added a chemical to kill mosquito larvae in a water storage tank at her house. The majority of breeding of this species of mosquito occurs in people's homes.
What are you doing at home to lower your chance of getting bitten by a mosquito?
Borges told me she tries to keep her home clean, eliminates standing water, and occasionally uses bug spray. Still, she gets mosquito bites about once a week. She's had no obvious symptoms of Zika, but 80% of the time, those infected don't feel sick.
What do you worry about?
Prejudice exists and is serious. As a mom, I would give all my love, but I would worry about the outside world. Scott, I asked Health Commissioner Correa about today's report of sexual transmission of Zika virus in the United States. He said that has not been reported yet in Brazil, but that after today, health officials here are certain to take a closer look.
Dr. John LaPook reporting for us from Recife tonight. John, thank you. You probably have a lot of questions about Zika, and Dr. John LaPook has answers in a chat on our CBS News Facebook page. So what are the chances of a large outbreak of Zika in this country? We put the question to Dr. Thomas Frieden, who runs the Centers for Disease Control.
Everything that we've seen so far doesn't suggest that there'll be a widespread outbreak of Zika in the U.S. We have two things going for us. First, the mosquitoes are not present at all in most of the country, and they're present in much lower numbers where they are present. Second, because people have air conditioning, are inside, are less crowded than some of the places where Zika is spreading so rapidly, we're much less likely to have that kind of widespread transmission, even in those places where there are the mosquitoes that spread this virus.
Dr. Thomas Frieden of the CDC. Now, turning overseas, there was a bang and suddenly a gaping hole in a jetliner over war-torn Somalia today. And Margaret Brennan has that.
Cell phone video shot on the plane while still in flight shows oxygen masks blowing in the wind near the hole in the Airbus 321. Some passengers towards the back of the plane can be seen wearing their own oxygen masks. Once on the ground, the damage to the plane was clearly visible, with pieces of the fuselage curled out from the body of the plane. All 74 passengers and crew were evacuated. Aviation officials say 2 people were injured. The Somali-owned airline was on its way from Mogadishu to Djibouti when just minutes after takeoff, the rupture ripped a hole in the fuselage. Somali diplomat Awale Kulane was on the flight and said on Facebook that he heard a loud noise and couldn't see anything but smoke for a few seconds. After the smoke cleared, he realized quite a chunk of the plane was missing. U.S. intelligence officials are aware of reports that there may have been an explosion, but it's unclear if that's from a structural failure or a bomb. Scott, the al-Qaeda-linked terror group al-Shabaab controls part of the country, and ISIS is expanding its footprint.
Margaret Brennan in the Washington newsroom tonight. Margaret, thank you. Now, 5 days ahead of Super Bowl 50, the NFL is studying how to deal with a 58% increase in concussions, from 115 during the 2014 season to 182 in 2015. This after the league already cracked down on helmet-to-helmet hits. John Blackstone is looking into this.
Former New York Giant Tyler Sash died at the age of 27. Doctors were shocked to discover he had a degenerative brain disease unusually advanced in someone so young. His mother, Barnetta, blames football.
They could have all the money back if I could just have my son back. Nothing else matters. And you can't compensate anybody enough for that.
If you continue to deny my work.
In the movie Concussion, Will Smith plays Dr. Bennett Omalu, the pathologist who first identified the brain disease chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, in football players. He battled the football establishment to have it recognized.
Nobody is denying CTE any longer.
Dr. Omalu has studied the brains of dozens of deceased NFL players. How many of the players on the field on Super Bowl Sunday will already be suffering from brain damage?
I believe that 90 to 100% of the professional players will suffer from CTE.
Well, I think that's a bit of hyperbole, quite honestly. I can't imagine that being the case.
Dr. Mitch Berger, a brain surgeon, is chair of a committee that monitors head injuries for the NFL. Over the past decade, the league has made dozens of rule changes to reduce the risk. An athletic trainer, dubbed Eye in the Sky, watches for injuries from a stadium box, and an independent neurological consultant monitors from the sidelines.
Concussions are up, and I think it's primarily because of the vigilance. So because of the unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant, because of the spotter in the media box, there were twice as many evaluations or screenings for concussions this year.
But Dr. Omalu believes it takes less than a concussion to damage the brain.
So by the time you reach a professional level, you must have received thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of blows to your head.
Dr. Omalu now has a foundation to research the damage those blows to the head may be causing. And Scott, the NFL is looking at equipment changes and even new kinds of turf that could reduce head injuries.
John Blackstone reporting for us. John, thank you. A mother remembers her murdered daughter. Was the killer online? And Snowplows overwhelmed by a severe storm when the CBS Evening News continues. Nicole Lovell battled illness and bullying and lived much of her short life online. Saturday, she was found murdered. 2 freshmen at Virginia Tech are under arrest, and Don Daler is following this.
At a press conference, Nicole Lovell's mother, Tammy Weeks, tried to describe the daughter she called Coley. She couldn't finish.
Coley had a passion for pandas, dreamed of being on American Idol. Nicole touched many people throughout her short life. Yeah, I can't do that part.
Prosecutors had charged 18-year-old David Eisenhower with first-degree murder, and his fellow Virginia Tech engineering student, 19-year-old Natalie Keepers, is now charged with helping him commit the crime. Commonwealth's attorney, Mary Pettit.
A very preliminary determination of the cause of death is stabbing.
Eisenhower is a former high school track star. According to police documents, he first told investigators, "I believe the truth can set me free." 13-year-old Lovell, who'd survived a liver transplant, was last seen at her mother's Blacksburg, Virginia home last Wednesday. Her body was discovered Saturday, lying on a road in North Carolina. Lovell's father, David, and her stepmother, Terry, stayed in touch with the teen through social media, but they were concerned about her activities on some websites, where the family believes she ultimately met her accused killer.
Aware that she was active on these teen flirt sites?
We knew that there were some issues at one time with her on these sites, and we addressed them, and I guess we didn't do enough.
The suspects are being held at this jail without bond. They have not yet entered a plea. Scott, Nicole Lovell, her funeral will be held on Thursday.
Don, thank you. Snow stretches for 1,000 miles. Next. The candidates got out of Iowa just one step ahead of a storm that could still spawn tornadoes. Here's David Begnaud.
Tonight, a blizzard is sweeping across much of middle America. The zone of snow extends from Colorado to Wisconsin. More than 13 million people are under the threat of winter weather. Nearly a foot of snow has fallen in Colorado alone in just 24 hours. In Kansas, vehicles had to be dug out. Blowing snow has made driving treacherous with little visibility. Big rigs have become stranded. Some sedans didn't even have a chance. Even snowplows were struggling. The snow cut power to at least 1,600 customers in Lincoln, Nebraska, where Moni and Lee Hedrick live.
It's a moment where you kind of go back to where people didn't have power, and you have to learn how to adapt.
Elsewhere today, it was unusually warm, from Chicago to New Orleans. Nashville set a record, 75 degrees. That warmth combined with strong winds will cause severe thunderstorms and a looming threat of tornadoes for nearly 9 million people from the Gulf Coast to Illinois. Tonight we're in Mississippi. Here and in Alabama, tornadoes have been reported. In fact, at a Baptist church in Collinsville, Mississippi, we're told there is substantial damage. The National Weather Service says right now the weather pattern is changing rapidly.
We'll check with you tomorrow. David Begnaud, thank you very much. Millions of people will be in the path of a flood of Super Bowl ads. Next. The Super Bowl is coming Sunday here on CBS, but first, a word from the sponsors. Here's DeMarco Morgan.
Each morning I get up, I die a little. Can't barely stand on my feet. Take a look at yourself, look in the mirror and cry.
These singing sheep hope to have football fans flocking to their Honda dealers. But whether you're an animal lover,
your Skittles portrait,
or one with a sweet tooth and the mood to go an octave higher,
I think a little higher.
get ready to be flooded, knocked over, and entertained by this year's Super Bowl ads.
It's hard to resist great taste.
Ken Wheaton, editor of Ad Age.
What does the Super Bowl mean to advertisers?
The Super Bowl for advertisers is one of the last big things for them to put their brand in front of the most people in America.
Companies are shelling out $4.8 million on average for a 30-second spot. That's $160,000 per second.
And over here we have their alphabet. It was called emoji.
During last year's Super Bowl, smaller brands like avocados from Mexico spent 10% of their budget for an ad.
I mean, double dipped.
Company president Alvaro Luque.
We're trying to give an example to other brands that could be participating there and compete or share the stage with these huge brands.
Luque's brand grew 33%. The lesson? The ad that wins has a message that resonates. And a brand that sticks for years to come. DeMarco Morgan, CBS News, New York.
And that's the CBS Evening News for tonight. For all of us at CBS News all around the world, good night.